Well, g'day everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fly Fishing in Nature's Realm. Now we're going to be doing another fly. Now this fly is a saltwater fly, and it's a fly that I developed. And I call this fly the Barwon Crab. Now, and the reason why I call it the Barwon Crab is basically because I designed this fly to imitate a particular crab that frequents the Barwon River, and also the mouth of the Barwon River, and also the surf beaches of that area. And the actual crab in question, I have a photo of it right here. As you can see, that's the actual crab. And I wanted to tie a fly that would be, a little bit lighter than a lot of the other crab patterns out there, but in saying that, it does have a little bit of lead putty at the base of the fly to get this crab pattern down. But in saying that, it's worked well for me in the Barwon, mainly around the mouth of the Barwon River, some surf beaches, and also at other destinations. So it's a really good saltwater fly, and when you do tie this fly, the great thing about it is you can use different materials, different colours of materials to match the crab that you're trying to imitate in your neck of the woods. All right. So so this is a great little pattern, and now I'll show you the materials that you'll need to tie this fly. The materials will come up right now. Okay, so at your leisure you can pause that and then write down all those materials that will be needed to tie this fly. Alright, so let's start to tie the Barwon Crab. Okay, so the hook we'll need is a size 2 Gamakatsu saltwater fly hook. It is the model SS152, okay, and size 2, not 2.0 but 2, alright, so remember that. So we put that in the vise, we take our 6.0 thread to tie this fly, and we start just below the eye of the hook. So tying the thread from the eye of the hook back in line with the barb. Cut the excess off there. And then when we reach there, go back again to just behind the eye of the hook. This is just the base thread that we need, alright, for this fly, and bring it back to about that position. Now we take a dumbbell weighted eyes. You can buy dumbbell eyes from the fly shop, or you can use what I've got here, is this chain boot, just as good. Great thing about this, it's a little bit less in weight than what the dumbbells that you buy at the shop and that, but if you do need extra weight, you're probably better off to get the dumbbell eyes. So I've cut off one section here, and we'll tie that in position where we are at. Now we figure of 8. This in, so back that way, and that way. Make sure it's nice and straight. And then what we do is a few wraps underneath to really secure that in. And then just a couple more that way and that way. And job done. Alright, now advance back to the bend of the hook. Okay, now at this position what we do is we take some crystal flash. Now, as you can see here, I've got some crystal flash, but this is the great thing. You don't need to just use, say, crystal flash. You could use Marabou. You could use your favourite material at this position, just to make sure you get a bit of sparkle in the fly. I think it's very important that we have a little bit of sparkle, just to attract the fish to the fly. So we take ourselves a small section of this crystal flash. And then we want to be about a hook shank in length from the actual bend there. So around about that position there. Tie that in. Alright, cut away the excess. Alright, now next material we'll need is some Marabou Feather fibres, and that's what this fly is going to be made from, is Marabou Feather fibres. You'll see that we're just going to use this part, this material for this part of the fly, but then when we do the body of the crab, we're going to be actually using Marabou Feather fibres. It's a really great material to work with, and that's the great thing about Marabou Feather fibres, is that it underwater comes alive. It makes the fly look like it's alive, and I tie a lot of different fly patterns with this material. I've got nymphs, I've got some emerging nymphs, I've got done patterns that use this material. It's so useful, this material. It's incredible. So what we do is we take a section of the fibres, and then we tie that in to the position where we've got the crystal flash. So around about there. Tie that in. Cut away the excess. Now what we do is we take a mallard feather or hen feather of some description, and make sure that when you do select that it's got a curve in it, right? So we want to be taking one of the fibres so that we get the feather that we actually need there. And then place that on one side and then tie that in. Like so. And then we grab ourselves another one with the curve going the other way as well. Place that on the other side. And that's in nicely in place. Okay, we come to the middle of the fly and we leave the thread at that position there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is tie in some eyes for this crab. Now I've already got some eyes selected, and what we do to create the eyes is we get ourselves some monofilament. Now this monofilament is 80 pounds. 80 pounds or even 100 pound monofilament is perfect for what you want. So I'll just show you what you do. You just basically take yourself if I can find the end. There it is. So you would cut yourself a section like that and then basically get a lighter and just melt it down. Do it nice and slowly. Let it go down and then stop for a bit. Alright, I want a bit bigger than that. Probably around about there. And there you go, you've got your eyes. So that's how we create the eyes of the fly. Okay, so I've already got the eyes made up. And then we give ourselves a section like that and we melt either end till we get the eye size that we want. Then we cross it over and then tie it into place. So alright, make sure that we judge the length of the eyes. We want them to extend a little bit out from the side of the hook shank, but not too far. When we get that judged perfectly, we then tie it in. And again, this can slip as we go. Just pull it in right to the length that we want and in between the eyes there. Like so. Then we would cut the loop and then cut each eye at this position here. And then again a few more wraps to secure it nice and tight. And we can manipulate those eyes into position as well as we go, because it's 80 pound guys. There's no problems with that. Alright, so there we have it. We've got the eyes in place. Make sure that the other side is perfectly level there. And the eyes are done. Right, now we need to construct the body. Now the body, as I was saying to, is tied with Marabou Feather fibres. Now we select ourselves a good feather, and what we do is we bring the thread back towards the bend of the hook. Now here we create ourselves a dubbing loop. Get your dubbing loop tool and then have that in place. Advance the thread to about the position where you think you'll run out of the actual fibres, and then we take the fibres from the feather like so, open up the loop and put that in between the loop. Like so, and then start to turn the doubling loop into position. Like so. And we spin it. And give it a real lot of turns, guys. Really spin that. Alright, take it out of the doubling loop, grab the end, and then we wrap it around the hook shank. Try to avoid the point of the hook that could cause problems. So make sure you miss that part. Alright, so we're basically up against that first eye. And we trap that in, and then snip away the excess there. Now advance. So we're about in the middle of the two eyes there. Okay, now we create another doubling loop. Take our doubling loop tool again. Now you probably need to do this around about 3 times, guys. 3 times. Okay, again, take your Marabou Feather. Strip the fibres off. And sometimes you get a bit of the stem still attached to it. Trim that stem away, guys. Alright. Take your loop. Put your fibres in the loop. Push it right up. Should you twist to hold it in place. Like so. Okay, and yeah, twist that double loop, spin it around. And this is what gives the fullness to the body of the fly. There's a part there I can see, I need to trim that off. Just that bit of stem there. Keep spinning it. Now it's starting to spin. It can take a while for this to spin right around and flare out, guys. Okay, it's about roughly what we want. Take it out of the loop and then wrap it around. Now we're the other side of the second eye there, and we will trap that in. Let's cut that excess away there. And then advance. No, we don't advance. Go back to where we were, create another dubbing loop. And this should be your last one that you'll need to create. Yep. And then we finish at this position there. One, two, three, four. Tighten down on that. Give it a second one, just to really secure it. We're finished, done. And now cut that away. Alright guys, so now what we need to do now is, just like you would if you were to tie a fly from deer hair, you trim it like as you do with deer hair. We do the same with this. So remember, this part is the bottom of the fly, the other is the top of the fly, so this has got to be flatter. So what we do is we trim it up. Watch the eyes as you're doing this. And then cut around to the shape of a crab. Alright, it takes a while guys. The power of editing. We'll come back in a minute and we've trimmed it to shape and we're ready for the next section. Okay, here we are back again, and as you can see we've trimmed that to the shape of a crab. I've made sure that the bottom's, relatively flush with the hook shank, and the body is actually a little bit more fibres up there and fullness to the fly. So that's great. So we have it in this position here, and we go now to create the legs of the fly. Now to create the legs, what I like to use is this material here. It's called silly legs, orange barred, right? So these are silly legs, orange barred, and they come in small sections like this. We take 2 sections of it, and then we tie a knot in each of them. Now I've already done that and these go out to the front. So the knot goes out into that position there. Alright. So right. So we need to do the knot. I thought I'd already done it, but I hadn't. So let's do the knot now. Okay, there's the knot there. So that comes out in that position there. So get the other one, tie a knot in that. Start in there, and they're ready to go. Now we take some glue. Now I recommend araldite or some type of glue, super glue. Some super glues work, some don't, guys. All right, because we've got to glue on a little bit of lead putty after we've put the legs in. I find this UHU super glue. I think it's super good. I wanted araldite, so I'm not sure if that is. I think it's under the brand of araldite. I'm not sure, but it works well. I've tested it already. And what we do is just put one little drop, very small amount, right in the middle of the bottom of the fly there, like that. Put the lid back on our glue, very important. And then we take our legs and put the first leg in that position there, a bit more length there. Okay, so that's good. Get your double needle, press that down. We get the other legs and we cross that way. Like so. And then double needle, press that down so it glues nice and tight. And we just might need a touch more glue for the lead putty weight. So we'll just take a little bit more glue, just a little tiny bit. Now this glue is waterproof and is really strong, and you need it for this next material that we use, which is the lead putty. Now this lead putty is from Looms. It's called Deep Soft Weight, and it comes in a pack, and as you can see there, you get a fair amount of it. We only need a touch, guys. You only need to break off just a little bit. So, it's amazing stuff, really. It really is. It's soft. You can just take off what you need. And then just the hood of your fingers sort of melt, well not melts, but softens it. And if you press it with your fingers, you can soften it nice and flat. We just want a small little disc, alright? Very small little disc. I don't know if you can see that, but just there. And then we place that over the rubber legs, where the glue is, and press it down gently. Nice and gently. Take your double mil. I think that's a better way of doing it. And then press it down. Now this will be enough weight to right itself up and fall down to the bottom where you want it. And this is great too, and even though I've never fished for permit, which I'd love to do, guys, and you know, that's one thing on my bucket list is to go after some permit and try and catch permit on fly. And they love crabs, guys, and this is what they do. They put a little bit of weight on the bottom to get it down, and the permit, you know, scoop them up. It's a great fly to use. Okay, so that needs to dry, as do the legs and so forth. Now I'm going to have to just reposition those legs again. Alright. Now, as we wait for this to dry, what we do now is we take some acrylic paint. Alright. Now the acrylic paint I've got here is a cool red colour, and we take our toothpicks. This is our paintbrush. Here's our toothpick. And we paint the eyes. Alright guys, so undo that, put it in position. We want it there, and we dip our toothpick into the paint and just paint the eyes a beautiful bright red. Alright. There we go, beautiful. Put the lid there, back on. That needs to dry also, so let's go back to the base. And tie it in that position. Now we need to cut the legs to length, right? So we need to come to the back leg, so we're in about there, or to your liking. I don't like them too long, I don't like them too short. You've got to really get that in between length so that those legs in the water start to really kick around. And the same with the front ones there. So like that. Now that's the bottom. Now we take our toothpick again. Now we paint. More fingers today, I'll tell you. Take the paint and we do the base of the fly. Again, we'll press down on that. By now it's pretty well much glued, guys. This is a great glue. It glues this lead putty, which is not an easy material to glue to our surface. But that's done the job pretty good. So what we do here is we paint just on the lead putty, this red acrylic paint. Beautiful. All right. Now, again, we need to let that dry, and I'll just revolve that around, and you can see, put those legs that way and that way. And that way. And I'll turn that around for you to look at the close-up view of the Barwon crab. What a ripper it is, guys. This really works well. I would wait the next, this is night time. Tomorrow morning when I get up, I get these flies and then they should be dry. Glue should be 100% hardened. The paint, the acrylic paint, takes that amount of time to dry as well. And what a fly, guys, it's a ripper. So I'll just tie it in that position here. Alright. Here it is. Alright. So that's the Barwon crab. Okay. Now, like I said to you, the lead weight is what gets the fly to land in the right position. Right? And like I say, the hook point and the barb of the hook is in the upright position. So when we retrieve the fly with a slow, say, figure of 8 or small little strips, stripping that fly back, it's going to scrape along the bottom, and on a perfectly clear bottom, a sand bottom, it's not going to hook up into the sand whatsoever. If it was weed beds, which a lot of the Barwon River has, if you know of any areas in the river where it's clear, along the edges and so forth, then you've got a really good chance of it not hooking up. But when there's a lot of weed, and let me tell you guys, the Barwon River gets really weedy, and yeah, it probably won't have much, or it can be successful, but it won't have as much success. Where if you fish sections of the Barwon River along the surf beaches, that's great areas there where the bottom's nice and clear. This fly really works well. And like I say, guys, alright, it's the Marabou feathers that we've spun on and created the body, and we've shaped it. When that gets wet, it just pulsates. It's incredible, alright. It's just the best material I reckon you can use for any fly. If you can adapt Marabou feather fibres to any of your flies, it's just going to improve your fly so much. It's incredible. All right. So that is what I love about this material. So guys, tie that up, give it a go, and you'll be really wrapped with it. Okay. And like I said, you can change the colour of it, to suit a crab, a particular crab that you might have in your area. So all we do then, we'd use different Marabou colours. I've got Marabou in a whole host of different colours. So you can change that. The legs, you can change the colour. Those silly legs are coming in numerous different colours at fly tackle shops like the Complete Fly Fisher and Aussie Angler down at Greensborough. Rick's got a great range of materials there. He's got these silly legs there. But you can use, say something like this for the legs. These are, well, they're silly legs, but they're a thicker silly leg. Alright, so you might want to use something like that, or you could use, different, the squirmy legs. Squirmy legs. That is another material that you could possibly use. I find it's a bit thick, alright, and it over exaggerates the legs, but if you could get that in a really fine diameter, those squirmy legs, it'd be insane. It really would. So I'm always experimenting, guys. Alright, so you need to experiment as well with your flies. Alright, so that's it for this episode. If you want any answers, or you got any questions to any of today's tyings, any questions at all, just put it down in the comments section. I'm only too happy to help you out there, guys, and it's great being with you. So this is Bruce Smith saying goodbye, and see you on the next episode of Fly Fishing in Nature's Realm. Bye for now.